in your 1.5, 1.6, everybody did great. I didn't have any grades lower than an 80. Yeah, anything lower than the 80 range, so that was great. There were a lot of you guys that did not do the interval notation quiz. Well, I'll say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of you that didn't do the interval notation quiz. And those of you that did, no one made lower than a 90, so that's great. So I feel like you guys are getting the concept. Are there any questions about anything from chapter 1? We're going to do the chapter 1 review today. So remember, your test is due this week. So the test, let me pull that up.
You want me to put you on spotlight for?
Oh, I'll do it. Or yes, you do it.
Yeah.
There you go. It'd be nice if it just automatically did it,
Yeah.
but it doesn't. And you know what? It's nice today. We had a meeting with the whole college yesterday and the main person forgot to share the screen. So like the whole time we couldn't see anything, which we messaged her and said we can't see, but she's still. So it's nice to know that I'm not the only one that has struggled with the Teams because we were using Zoom and it got to where it cost so much money, we had to switch.
That's why you switched.
Yeah, that's why we switched. We were paying like thousands of dollars for Zoom.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and Teams technically comes with our Outlook email package. So that's why we switched. Okay, let's take a look. Here we go. September, can y'all see this? See that?
Hold on. Oh, yes.
Okay. So again, this week, you're gonna do a chapter 1 review quiz. We're gonna go over this chapter 1 practice test today. Here's the answer keys for it. So I do have the answer keys up here already if you want to go back and look at it. And then this is your chapter 1 test. I've recently just started adding these in. So I think we're gonna do at least 3 tests throughout the semester, just to kind of extra, to kind of quiz you cumulatively on everything you've learned throughout. You're only gonna have 1 attempt. You have 1 hour to do it. Some are gonna be multiple choice, some are short answer, and some are matching. So just be aware of that. And then your chapter 1 review quiz. It's just to kind of help you get ready for it. And you know, what I would do, like today, when we go over the chapter 1, I would go ahead and like, before you take your test, go and have a sheet with all the, you know, like a cheat sheet, have like any kind of definitions we've done, any kind of equations we've done. Maybe have that factoring sheet out if you need it. What else have we done? Distance midpoint formula up there, Pythagorean theorem formula, quadratic equation formula that we've done. Yeah, all that kind of stuff out ready. So when you do your test, if you need to go back and look, and I'm fine with you guys having a note sheet out when you're doing, and a calculator, or your Desmos up. Okay.
Yes, the calculator came in handy because I already did mine.
Oh, you did? Okay, so did it go okay?
Yeah, it went okay. I was curious about my grade because and you had written answers in there.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and look at those. So yeah, so if you have done it, like the short answers, if you write anything a little bit differently than what I put in as the answer, it may count it wrong, but it may be right. So I will go in and hand grade it to make sure, like, let's say you put in, this is just hypothetical. The answer was, 0.34 and you put 0.34, it would count wrong, even though technically that's correct. Or you gave me a fraction instead of a decimal answer or something like that. It would still be right and I would count it right.
Yeah, I didn't know if that was gonna be my final grade or not, because I did get an 87, I think. But
I'll go in and back and I will grade it myself and go back and look. So if there's anything close, or maybe you round it a little bit differently than what I rounded, I would probably count that right. All right, so let's go back and look at the practice test. Pull that up. Now the problem is I don't think I even brought the practice test in here. Right, what I'm gonna do real quick is I'm gonna write these problems, some of these down on the board, so that way I can go through them with y'all. And I'm gonna turn it back to the board in just a second, okay? But I'm just writing these down real quick, so I have them, some of these.
Oh, Jackson's late, but he made it.
Okay. I'll add it. Y'all, make sure I'm writing these correctly. I write some down.
Again, so.
Tendency to check out a meeting.
It looks like you did it right.
Okay. Check that one too.
I did.
Okay.
You want me to shut the door?
Yeah, that would be great. Start with those four. I'll go back to this. Check this, Jackson. Anybody else up here? All right, let me know if somebody else gets up there. I have a tendency to forget to check. Okay, oh, the review would not be graded. It's just, for y'all's practice, like just to have as a study guide. So I have the answer key up there and we're gonna do it today. Now the chapter 1 quiz review, that is graded. So that's just like, it is well, I mean, I guess I really don't. Maybe I won't count that towards you badly,
Okay.
the practice review.
Okay.
I'll take that out, okay? So the chapter 1 quiz review, because I used to not do the test, and I've recently added that. So why don't I do this? The chapter 1 quiz review is for your practice, and I'm not gonna count that against you. The test, though, is gonna be counted as a test.
Yeah,
Okay.
I got a 92 on it.
Okay. So, that would be for y'all's practice, all right? Jackson, I got you down. Okay, the one that I was saying that might be counted wrong, like, is the test. So there's some short answer questions on the test. And when I put the answers in, if your answer is a little bit wrong on it, it might count it wrong. But I'm gonna go in and grade it myself, so.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. Thank you.
And like I have another class that I do that into, and it always confuses people. But I would literally have to put every single type of answer in that you guys, like, there'll be a million different, 5 different. I do try to put different answers you could put in there, but I can't come up with everything, so.
We're talking about the quiz, 1.5, 1.6.
No, the next week. Go to, what week is that, 6? Is it week 6? Or week 5?
Practice chapter test.
Yeah, so this one, so we're gonna do the practice test right now. And that's the answer key. This, I'm not gonna really grade it, it'll just be for you, the quiz, and then that's the test, that's the one I'm talking about that has short answers on it. So like, if you put an answer in, it may count it wrong, but it might still be right. If it's just a little off. It might be wrong though if you're wrong, so, did it give you the answers?
No.
It didn't,
Okay.
I don't really like it too,
I'm not
because.
gonna be able to check it all until.
I don't really like, I would rather, that's why I like to grade it first and then check it. Okay, especially because if there's a lot of same people in the same class and one person does it and they get the answers and they do it before someone else. Yeah, lots of cheating can happen. So, all right, first 4 questions. Now, let's look at these real quick. let's look at these four. Can you tell me what kind of equation is this? You should be able to tell me that. What kind is this? What kind is this? And what kind is this, just from looking at it? What is this one?
That one.
And do you guys understand when I ask what type of equation is? Do you know what I'm asking for?
The, like, if it's a quadratic. or-
Yes, okay, so the ones that we have done so far, we have done linear. Yes, Casey, you're correct. We have done linear, we have done quadratic, we have done radical. We have done absolute value, although I didn't really get to an absolute value example, but it was in your notes. We've done rational. Okay, so rational, radical, absolute, linear, quadratic. Am I missing any? Technically polynomial equation too, but we haven't done like the full polynomial. All right, so this one is linear. What about this one? How do I know this one is linear? Linear is gonna have just an X.
Yeah.
Okay. This one is what?
And also. linear.
Is also linear. So Casey, these brackets are different than absolute values. Think of absolute value gonna be a straight line like this. Okay, so treat a bracket just like another set of parentheses.
Yeah.
What about this one? It's linear. Wow, look, this is just X, right? The only thing different is it has a decimal in it and a fraction. There's still a number, right? All right, what about this one?
Quadratic.
It's quadratic. How do we know it's quadratic?
Is that an X squared?
It's got X squared. Okay, so that's what I want y'all to think about when you're looking at these. And linear, we just solve it like a regular, get the X by itself. And quadratic, how do we solve a quadratic?
Quadratic set equals zero.
Yeah, set it equal to 0, and then we have our different methods. So you could do factoring, you could do the quadratic formula, you could do graph it and Desmos, you could do,
Calculus. Or mass factoring.
yes, yeah, or, square root method if it is a easily one, that one is not. All right, so let's get started. We have our like terms here. So let's look at that. How do we combine those? Let's see, 7, 8 minus 2x. If you didn't have a calculator, how would we do that? That's 2 over 1. We get a common denominator. This will be 8. This will be 16 over 8. 7 minus, what would be what? Negative
9/8.
x plus 6 equals 3 over 4. Then what will we do? Any ideas?
Subtract the 6, but you have to put it in, you have to put it in.
Now, if you didn't want to work with a fraction, you could multiply this entire thing by 8. And get rid of the whole fraction if you wanted to do that. But, all right, 3 over 4 minus 6. You also can just plug that in the calculator if you don't want to do it, and it would be negative 21 over 4. So we're left with negative 8, negative 9, 8x equals negative 21 over 4. Right, now what do we do?
I'd say, well,
What are these two doing?
kind of have a denominator.
Well, these are multiplying, so to get rid of this, you could divide it, or you could multiply by the reciprocal. And that would also get rid of it. I'm just gonna divide. All right, if you think about it, you have 21 over 4. If you divide it by fractions, you have to keep switch. So that would be 8 over negative 9, which would be, what would that be? You get a 168 over 36. That reduces to My head is killing me, so I'm not. 14/3, negative 14/3, which is 4.67. Either of those answers would be acceptable.
Yes, all right, well, that's right.
Good. How'd you do on Desmos? What do? You just plug it in? Oh, okay, there we go. So you could have also done this in Desmos. I just am not, I need to be more comfortable with Desmos, but I just don't use it. And Connor just literally put the whole thing in there, right? Did you put the equal in 3? Okay. So yeah, he just stuck the whole thing in Desmos and then you can graph it and it'll graph the X value as the, negative 4.67. Questions on this one? Questions? Oh, goodness. I am recording this, so if anybody needs to go back and, look, I will put this up there. All right, this one, remember, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Order of operations. First, we're going to do what? What's inside the parentheses. Now, you need to be careful when you rewrite this. This is technically X minus 6, and this negative needs to go to each piece. So this would be a negative negative, which would be plus 3, plus 5. This is all in the parentheses. I'm gonna do all this first. So I have an X and a 3X, which makes 4X, and a negative 6 and a 5, which makes a negative 1. Multiplied by 3. So you can probably plug this one into Desmond's too, Connor. All right, then we're gonna distribute. So this will be 12X minus 3 equals 11X plus 8. And then this is your basic linear equation from there. Making sure we're checking over me. All right, subtract 11X from this side. That's X plus 3 on this side. To be X equals 11. It was a positive 14/3. On the last one? Is it positive? I messed that up somewhere. Yeah, it was a positive 14/3. Wonder what I must have did something wrong with my sign.
Even if it does myself.
Did you get negative or positive? I did write something down wrong. Plus 6 minus 2X. Yeah, it should be positive. I don't know. We did something wrong with the sign. We got the right answer. I must have not divided this the negative again. So the last one should have been positive 14. I don't know what I wrote.
No, you didn't divide the negative.
I did divide the negative. Okay. So yeah. See, I make mistakes all the time. All right, the next one is 11. Did you check that one in Desmond's? I mean, I know it's right because I got my answer key right here. Okay, next one. Okay. All right, this one. We've got, if you wanted to make this easier, you could just go ahead and write this as a decimal. 4/5 is 0.8. So that might make it a little bit easier. 0.8x minus 0.6x plus 0.3 equals x minus 9. Okay. Okay. So yeah, we did the 4/5, changed it to 0.8. We can go ahead and subtract these two because this is where your x is. 0.8 minus 0.6 is going to be your 0.2. And then we've got plus 0.3 equals x minus 9. And then I'm going to subtract my x. So technically that's a 1, right? So we're going to do 0.2 minus 1. It's going to be negative 0.2 minus 1. It'll be a negative 0.8, yeah. Plus 0.3 equals negative 9. I'm going to move the subtract. All right, I'm making sure my side's -9 minus. Yeah, -9.3, so I end up with -0.8 equals -9.3. And then I'm gonna, where's my x? Where's my x?
Yeah, where's yours?
There's my x. All right, and then divide. 11.625. Can I get that?
Where'd
Negative
you get the 8 from?
0.8. This right here. There's a 1.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Hannah, Deanna, Caleb, and Cheyenne. Mark y'all. Gotcha. Oh, yeah, we got that right. 11.625, or you could also put 93/8 as the fraction, if you like fractions. Most of you don't. All right. Now, what do you guys want to do for number 4? How do you want to solve it? Obviously, we're gonna move the 9 over first. 5x squared minus 6x minus 9 equals 0. Is there a GCF? No. We want two numbers that multiply, or we could just put this in Desmos. Y'all wanna put it in Desmos? Saves a little time. Let me pull up Desmos. I got to share my screen now. All right, we're doing 5x squared minus 6x. All right, we got negative 8.69. Negative 0.8. I mean, negative 0.86. And what's the other one? 2 point something. 2.06.
969.
So it would not have factored, probably. No, it would not have factored. We would have had to use the quadratic formula on that one. Questions on that one? If we had used the quadratic formula, we would ended up with 3 plus or minus 3 squared 6 all over 5. But again, I'm fine with the decimal answer. Okay, next problem. Everybody got this one down? I'll see the blue okay up here.
Yeah.
Okay. The next one. All right, what is question 5? What kind of equation is question 5? And 6?
6 is a radical.
The 6 is a radical. It's definitely not linear. You're right. I don't know if it's the opposite. There's not really an opposite of linear, but yes. Well, no, the other one is radical. Yes, 6 is radical. What is 5 though? 5 is, we learned 5 with linear. Not radical. 6 is radical. Not quadratic. Doesn't have x squared. We learned this in 1.1 when we learned about linear equations. Quartic, no, not quartic. Starts with an R. Anybody?
I don't remember writing that.
Mm-hmm. Cheyenne got it, rational. Right? Okay, remember when it's like a fraction, you got an x in the denominator? So remember, rational equations turn into linear after we get rid of denominator, and you have to have a common denominator. So look at these denominators. The first thing we have to do is really we need to factor any of the denominators if they're factorable. So this one, technically, I could rewrite this. How would I rewrite this in factored form? Meaning, is there a GCF?
There is 2.
2. So if I rewrite this would be 2 times x minus 2. It just makes it a little bit easier for you to be able to find your common denominator. Do you see the common denominator now?
It is 2 times x plus.
Yes. Okay. It's just easier to see it when you factor out. So, no. 2 times x minus 2, notice that is going to be your common denominator. So on the top one, I have an x minus 2. I want a 2 times x minus 2. So what do I have to multiply this by? 2. By 2. This is going to become 8 on top because 4 times 2 is 8. Okay. What does this one need? This has a 2, but I need a x minus 2. So I'm going to have to multiply this by x minus 2. So we're going to do a 1 times x minus 2. And then this one already has everything, so I just leave it the same. Everybody with me? All right, now the denominators are all the same, so I can cancel those out. So I'm left with an 8 minus x minus 2 equals 3x minus 8. Now this is where people mess up. This negative here must be distributed to the x and the negative 2, okay? Because it's minus this whole thing. So this will be 8 minus x, and a negative make a plus 2. Equals 3x minus 8. I'm going to rewrite this over here. All right, I've got an 8 and a 2. That's going to make 10 minus x equals 3x minus 8. I'm going to move the 3x over. It's going to be a negative 4x. I'm going to move this 10 over. It's going to be a negative 18. And then divide by negative. Get x equals 9 over 2. Positive 9 over 2. Let's check my answer. Yep, that's correct. Positive 9 over 2. Questions on that one? Let's go back over rational equations. All right, radical. How do I do number 6? How do I solve a radical equation?
Cube each side.
Well, before we gotta do that, we gotta do something else. What should I move first?
7.
You want to get the radical by itself. It just makes the problem easier, okay?
I thought it was one of those that you had to, that was weird that you have.
Yeah,
to take
yeah.
it.
Those are when you have the right on each side.
Ah, mm.
And you kind of have, there's no way around it, you have to do both. This one, it's easier to go ahead and move that. Now, you technically could cube both sides, it would just make it much more difficult. All right, so we move the one over, now I can cube both sides. This becomes x plus 3, and that becomes, what is that? 2, 8. No, what is it, 36 times 6? 216. All right, and we move the 3. We get x equals 213. And if you check it, the cube root of 216, because you put the 213 up there with the x, that would be cube root of 216, which is 6. 6 plus 1 is 7, so that works. Questions? And these two, we just did rational, right? We got a lot going on. All right, next problem is find each product or simplify. These are with our imaginary numbers, i's. Blue is harder to erase. All right, let's see. 4 plus 5 minus 2 plus 3. All right, you guys want to try those really quickly? Work on these real quick. I'll give you about 5 minutes. You want to start going over them? I don't think you could do those in Desmos because for some reason Desmos doesn't do the imaginary number. Now your graphic calculator will do it. Alright. So this one, you treat it just like it has a variable with it. We're gonna distribute this negative both, so negative negative will be negative 2, and a negative and a positive will make it negative. Okay? Gonna combine these two, you get 6, and then 5i minus 3i is positive 2i. Right, get that? Alright, this one we're gonna multiply. We can do the box or we can do FOIL. Which one do you guys use most often?
I do FOIL myself.
FOIL, okay. 5 times 3 is 15. You know, interestingly enough, my daughter is learning the box method right now with multiplying like three terms by 3 terms, which is still kind of weird because they like separated out the numbers out. I've never seen it. Anyway, okay, 5 times 3, and then 5 times 4i is 20i, and then negative 2 times 3 is negative 6i, and then negative 2i times a positive 4i is negative 8i squared. Okay, and then what is an I squared the same thing as?
I squared the same as -1.
Negative 1, good. So this is going to become a negative 1 times a negative 8, which is going to end up with a positive 8. And then these two are going to give you, what is that, 14i? And then, what is that going to be? 15 plus 8 is, 23. Did y'all get that? Yep. Mhm. Okay, next one. This one, I would suggest multiplying these two first and then you multiply the next one. So, this will be I squared plus 3i minus 2i minus 6. And then this will give you I, and this is technically a negative 1. And so then that would be,
-7 plus 1.
yeah. And then we're gonna multiply this by this. Okay. Do that correctly?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's just how it's.
Negative 7i minus 14 plus I squared plus 2i. Just written differently. This is gonna be a negative 1 here, so that's gonna be a negative 15. And then this is, negative 5i. And really, we should write it as negative 15 minus 5. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
that's what I got.
That's what you got. Everybody else got that? Then that's what I got too. All right, now let's go on up to these. Do you guys remember our eyes stuff? Do I need to go back over those? So remember, I is I. I squared is negative 1, right?
Mhm.
I to the third is, think about it, is I times I squared, which will be negative I. And then I to the fourth is negative 1 times negative 1, because it's I squared times I squared, which is positive 1. Okay, that's helpful for these. So remember the trick is, you technically divide this by 4. Okay, so how many times can 4 go into 29 evenly? 6 times 4 is 24.
Yeah.
7 times 4 is 28. So it'll go in 7 times evenly, right? How many remainders?
1.
1. So technically that's an I remainder. So I is the answer. One remainder, so that you just go 1. That would be I. So you think about it like this, I to the 28, so, and you have an I left over, pretty much. All right, this one has a negative. So if you guys remember the powers, you technically would move this down here to make it positive. Okay, how many times can 4 go into 109 without going over? Think about it. Try numbers. 4 times 25 is 100, right? 4 times 26 is 104. 4 times 27 is 108. So it'll go 27 times in, and you have one remainder. So this will be I. And if I move this up, this will be technically negative I. Get that correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. You move this up, this would end up being. The test review is not graded. No. The only thing that's gonna be graded this week is the actual test. Okay. Moving on. Mixture problem. What time is it? We got 5 minutes. We probably have enough time to do these. Mixture problem. All right, the problem says how many gallons of a 9%. Nine percent peroxide solution must be mixed. Here's our mixture. I remember I told you guys we can use the bucket method where it's like, you add, this is what you start with times your percent, what you're mixing on, and then this is the total mixture times your percent. So how many gallons of a 9% peroxide solution must be mixed with 3 gallons of a 15% peroxide solution to obtain a 12% solution? So remember I told you guys you're going to put the percentages on the bottom. And when you do percentages, you need to change them, go ahead and change them to a decimal when you do that. So how many gallons? So what is this going to be here? X. And then we're talking about what mixture? Yep, 0.09, good. That's gonna be 0.09 down here, okay? Trying to pull up the chat, but I keep messing up. All right, yep, good job, Casey. So X and then 0.09 must be mixed with 3 gallons, so this is gonna be 3 of a 15%, so what would that be?
That one would be 15.
0.15.
0.15 and 0.15 to obtain a 12% solution. So what's gonna go here?
X plus 3.
X plus 3. So remember, you gotta combine these two. It's your combined mixture. And then this is gonna be 0.12. Everybody understand that? How we set it up. And then we create our equation. So you're gonna do this times that, plus this times that, plus equals this times that. So it's gonna be 0.09x plus, 12, 3. Everybody with me so far? All right, this is going to be 0.4509x equals 0.12x plus 0.36. All right, move everything over. We got 1 minute left. You're gonna get x equals 3. Sorry. Okay. All right, the rest of this, there's another mixture type. Well, it's not really mixture, but it's a word problem. That one's up there. I've got the answer keys up here. So make sure you guys check over the answer key, finish the other page. I think there might be one more page up there for the review. Do your quiz review before you do the actual test, because again, it's gonna be timed, so you have an hour. I don't remember, do you remember how many questions were on the test?
I think it was
20,
15.
15? Okay.
But it took me a while.
It took you a
It took me about 50 minutes.
So there's some that have multiple
Yeah,
parts. So,
it was 15 or more than that.
but an hour is plenty of time.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I was also calculating.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, now, listen, if you guys start taking the test and something happens and you get locked out or the internet goes out, you need to go ahead and contact me right then when it happens. Don't wait and contact me next week afterwards and say, oh, I didn't do my test because I got locked out. Because I can go ahead and reset as long as we're within our time frame. You know, the due date's next Tuesday, right? So as long as within that time frame, we just have had some issues where people are like, oh, my power went out, but then they don't email me until after the due date. And I could have gone ahead and reset it and it wouldn't have been a problem because you went ahead and emailed me. So anyway, if you guys have any questions about anything, shoot me an email. If there's an issue with something, shoot me an email. Okay. All right, good. Thank you, guys. I do realize things come up and I'm pretty flexible. So if there is something, just as long as you guys communicate with me, I usually am pretty flexible and will let you guys do whatever you got to do as long as you get the work done. So I am going to post this recording for those of you that were in late. So be on the lookout for it today. Okay.